Homefront the Revolution feels less like a triumphant coup and more like a disassembled mess with no organisation. The ambitious ideas that the development team had are marred by terrible gunplay and criminal performance issues. Sadly, this makes Homefront the Revolution one of the most disappointing titles of 2016. I was a huge fan of the 2011 Homefront, yet after studio closures and assets being sold, it was a miracle that a sequel to Homefront materialised at all. Homefront focused on the successful rebellion against the intrusive Korean forces and thrived with its online component. Unfortunately, none of that is present in the revolution. North Korea has again occupied America, but their previous resistance efforts are unmentioned. Many dubbed Homefront the Revolution as Far Cry in the City, however the only similarities between the two is the non-linear approach to gameplay. To affiliate Homefront the Revolution with the Far Cry series would be insulting to the refined gameplay seen in the beloved franchise. The lore and motivations within Homefront the Revolution seem promising. The KPA supplied the US military with advanced technology which ultimately the Americans became dependent upon. With a backdoor hack installed by the Koreans, the KPA were able to down America's defences in one fell swoop, whilst invading and conquering the superpower in the process. The FPS genre has been guilty of ignoring how important and captivating narrative is, and I thought Homefront the Revolution stories could capitalise on this. However, this concept is immediately tarnished with Brady, your character, being a silent protagonist. The idea of a nationwide rebellion is a passionate cause, yet none of this is portrayed as Brady silently listens to every character, offering no input and mindlessly doing everything that is asked of him. Thankfully, everyone around you seems to be caught up in the momentum, and Philadelphia feels like the birthplace of an uprising. The city is divided into red zones and yellow zones, which you liberate by completing missions. The red zones are war-torn areas where the KPA have shoot-to-kill orders, but the yellow areas are military-controlled civilian areas where Homefront the Revolution feels unique. Drones hover, scanning alleyways, security cameras ID everyone on the streets, and soldiers perform raids on unsuspecting establishments. Freeing prisoners and destroying patrols ignites the passion among the civilians, and soon they will begin to revolt. The yellow zones are a welcome break from the red, because unfortunately when the time comes to fire a rifle, Homefront the Revolution becomes a far worse experience as the frame rate is horrendous. When in combat, aiming is drastically affected by these performance issues. I found myself wasting entire rounds on enemies as they easily evaded my oncoming fire. Occasionally, the game will simply pause for up to 10 seconds and casually resume, hoping you never noticed. These time lapses significantly extend an already long game, with the campaign taking me nearly 30 hours to complete. The narrative is painfully predictable, with twists and dramatic moments being anticipated moments before. Exploring the world is essential to provoke the citizens to begin their revolution, but this will find you performing the same mundane tasks repeatedly. Graphically, Homefront the Revolution is poor. The red zones look more post-apocalyptic than ransacked by war. Although the city spans a large area, I never really felt as though I had entered a new district. When not fast travelling, roaming can be laborious. Motorcycles are drivable, however, the poor frame rate often makes judging corners tricky. Planning a route which should be simplistic becomes convoluted with the necessity of having to access a smartphone and then opening the Maps application. Strangely, considering the KPA are utilising flying drones and other futuristic devices, your arsenal is rather limited. Remote control cars and teddy bear sticky bombs are fun to use, but some future tech could have made encounters more exciting. The only aspect of combat I enjoyed was the weapon modifications, as you physically adjust the attachment whilst in the middle of a gunfight. Homefront the Revolution makes the huge error of thinking big and forgetting the fundamentals. The Call of Duty series may have complaints, but it cannot be denied how competent of a shooter it is, which in turn helps it to sell millions of copies. Homefront the Revolution has ignored the basic requirements of a first-person shooter by having awful gunplay and atrocious performance. The promising aspirations fall flat and ultimately make Homefront the Revolution a disservice to the original. I give Homefront the Revolution 2 stars out of 5. Head to thenerdstash.com for the full written review.